And they might move me over live here.
Blog Talk Radio.
Winston-Salem, it's Sunday Night Dead. I don't always listen to internet radio. I'm usually having friends over for dinner. But when I do, I listen to Sunday Night Dead with my good friend Matt. Stay hungry, my friends.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Night Dead. I'm Matthew Slozer from Moon Paranormal, here in a very fall-like Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Had some big storms blow through. I know up in the New York, New Jersey area, where we're going to be talking to New Jersey Paranormal tonight, there were some very big storms going through there as well. So we had kind of a big seasonal change in the last 24 hours here. Hope you're all having a great night. Hope you had a great weekend. Thank you so much for kind of closing it out with me tonight. We have New Jersey Paranormal on tonight, which will be a great group to talk to. If anyone had seen anything on my Facebook site, I was threatening with my kids for a while. I have 5 kids, and actually I technically have a 6th because we have a child, not me, or it wasn't me, or I don't know, that does a lot of the different things. And so what I finally did is I finally got a rock, and this rock is now referred to as not me, it wasn't me, or I don't know. And we have like a place for it at the table. I'm actually told my one son that he's got to share the room with not me, and basically from now on when they say not me did it, I'm going to point to the rock and have them explain how the rock was capable of doing that kind of task. So it's been kind of interesting today. I've had a lot of fun with that. What's going to be really fun is when the kids are not around, I'm going to take not me and I'm going to do some chores and some things on my own and then set the rock there, and we'll start seeing how they react to not me actually getting some work done around the house. Anyway, also wanted to give a reminder, Deb Lichtenwallner won our Dead Air shirt for August, and I have to make a change. I was going to say in September I was going to do a drawing of people who shared the Dead Air or the Sunday Night Dead Facebook page. Realize that I cannot see everyone that does that, so what we're going to do instead is I am going to, each week in September, randomly pick someone that is has liked the site, and then out of those, after every week in September, the last weekend in September, we will go ahead and we will pick our finalists. So I had to go ahead this week and pick 2 people for the drawings. So the first person was Mr. Sean Jacobs, so he's in the running for the shirt. And then the second one, and I will say again, this was random, although some people probably won't believe me on this one. The second person in the running is Mr. Copperhead, who was a guest on our show last week. So those are 2 of the 5 semifinalists we'll have in for the September Dead Air T-shirt. At this point, I would like to introduce my technical assistant, a very, very stylish-looking Vincent. Vincent, what's going on? You look very, very gothic today. I'm kind of liking the new look here, man.
Who are you, Joan Rivers?
Vincent's getting testy again. He was testy last week too. I think I know what it is. I think Vincent's got a love interest going on here. I think he's trying to impress somebody with this new look. I think he might have a girl. Is that what you would call it, Vincent? Is it a girlfriend? Is that exactly how you would refer to a love interest?
Stick to pissing off orbs, Matt. I'm way out of your league. You don't want to mess with me.
See? Testy. All right, you just keep working the board, Vincent, and I'll keep doing what I do here, and whatever you're doing with your little goth look there, that's good with me. But I am curious as to whether you would actually refer to a love interest as a girlfriend, or exactly what something like a Vincent would actually date. Anyway, time to bring on my co-host. And anyone who is new to the show doesn't know that we give out some interesting titles here just because I know it Some people get so bent out of shape over semantics and things like that. So I would like to introduce the certified judge in spirit writing penmanship with a Ph.D. in talent, Miss Kellie Wirtz. Hey, Kellie.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Vincent scared away the studio audience here, so I don't have anybody I don't have my normal applause thing here, but we're all clapping inside for you.
Thank you.
So how are things up in Wisconsin?
Not too bad. The weather's finally nice. Although it'd be cold for you guys probably, but
probably, yeah. Well, I'm curious about this. What's considered nice?
We had 65, 70 degrees today.
Okay. Because I'll tell you, I just said that it feels like fall here, and I was thinking ahead of time that my feels like fall is going to be like some people's summer, but it was. I think it was actually more related to the humidity. We were leaving this morning, and I got like, oh man, it feels like fall, and it was this now. Granted, this is 7:30 in the morning, so it was 61. So that was 61 morning temperature is fall-like. So
yeah, we have 49.
Yeah, no, that's it'll be a while before we get to that. We don't have to. I shouldn't have to like scrape windows or anything until hopefully late October at the latest. Although I went on a business trip once to Maine, it still totally freaked me out. It was like August 21st, and I left my hotel and I had to scrape frost off the windshield. Like, you gotta be kidding. But not a place I'd want to live. So are you a Badger fan? Are you in mourning today?
No, I'm not really a football fan at all, so I'm not too bad.
Well, we'll pass that on, but I did see that last night. So if any of your friends or anyone from your group that are listening, I pass on my condolences to the Badgers for yesterday's game.
Yeah,
so,
Mike Hoke is a big football fan on our side, so he'll take that nicely.
Okay, and I do mean that. I'm not rubbing it in. It's I have some schools that I do like to rub it in on, but Wisconsin's not one of them, so it's all good.
Awesome.
Right. Well, I'm excited to have this group on. I have to say that, and Kellie falls into this category as well. When I first started just kind of branching out in this, and I was kind of just dabbling and doing this on my own for a while, and then as I met more and more people that were interested in paranormal things, whether it was other investigators or just people in general, I started actually just kind of putting information out there and creating a page and kind of starting to network with people. And there's a handful of groups, and some of which I haven't been in touch with yet. So if you're listening tonight and you're in one of those categories, don't be offended yet. I'm still working my way through the list. But there's a number of groups that kind of stand out for just being really nice and really helpful and really encouraging early on, as opposed to some of the drama and things that you, like we were talking about last week, and some of the things that you end up running into with teams, tearing your head off and stuff. There's just certain ones that really stood out as being supportive. And New Jersey Paranormal was one of those. They were a really great group and a really positive influence very early on in kind of my networking out here. So I wanted to get them on as soon as I could to talk to them. And so we have with us tonight, I'm going to bring on Barry Ruggiero and John DeMatico from New Jersey Paranormal. How you doing, guys?
Good, Matthew. How are you?
How are you, Matt? Good. So, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, right along the Delaware River, right along the border with Jersey. So, what part of Jersey are you guys from? Or out of?
I'll let John go first.
Well, originally I'm from Brooklyn, and then moved to Staten Island, and now I'm in Old Bridge in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I'm from North Jersey, and actually now I live down in the Jersey Shore area, right in Ocean County. I'm based in Brick, New Jersey, which is right on the coastline.
Okay. I'm from Lehigh Valley, downtown Bethlehem area, so across the river from Phillipsburg. And then my wife and my wife's family is actually from South Jersey, right over the bridge from Philadelphia. So I'm a little more familiar with the southern part of the state than the northern, but certainly familiar with New Jersey in general. So kind of basic questions first. What got you what got you interested in this and kind of involved in this in the first place?
Well, for me, John, do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go a bit first, Larry.
Okay. For me, like everybody else, I mean, we saw the shows. My brother and I both, who's another member, were always curious about it. My mother had a paranormal experience when she was a kid, and would tell us the story all the time. Her mother passed away, and she was in an orphanage at the time. And in our family, there's a history of brain tumors that in current members still have some. And my mother was put in an orphanage by her father, and that's what they did back in the 30s. And while she was in the orphanage, she would tell me this story as I was growing up, that she would see a woman come to her at night, and it was a Catholic orphanage, and she thought it was a nun, and the woman had a habit on, but then she realized when she got closer to the woman, it was her mother, and she would tell her sister the story that this woman would visit her every so often at night. And she would tell her sister, and her sister would say, you miss Mama, this and that, and the nuns would tell her, you need to pray for your mother. And my mother described what this woman was wearing, and then my aunt, who also has told me this story, told me that the story that my mother told her, the dress that the woman was wearing was actually her mother's, was laid out in that, and the reason why she thought it was a habit, when she had the surgery on her head, they wrapped her head with a cloth that looked like a habit so you would not see the scar when she was being laid out. And if you knew my mother's, we're an Italian family, and she's a very much down to the earth type woman. She thinks what we do is like, do you really see anything? She's not into the paranormal or psychics or anything like that. And she's just very blue-collar type of person. And we always would hear that story, and that sort of always piqued my interest. But then, I always thought you had to have psychics with you or something to really find out. And when the show started to take off, my brother and I both had an interest in it. We were talking to other groups about joining them. Went out to Gettysburg was the first thing, just on basically one of the tours, and then actually went to the battlefield that night and did that on several different occasions. So we started to learn about the instruments and stuff, and then actually decided to not really join a group but start our own group. And that was basically my interest. And John came along like a year ago. He's a great member, and I'll let John talk about why he got into it.
Well, my wife was always into it, and I was always a skeptic, saying, this ain't true. I'm watching the shows on TV. I said to myself, I have to go out there and I have to see now if this really happens. So I wound up going out and getting a little bit of equipment, and I took a trip to a cemetery where I caught my first EVP. And I sat there, I said, you know what, maybe there is something to this. So at this point, I said, now I got to try and do more and more. And I looked into a group I could join. And I happened to find New Jersey Paranormal on Facebook. Started talking to them, and I couldn't have picked a better group to join. And
we couldn't have a better member. John's a real find for us.
And it's been exciting, fun, educational, and just a great all-around experience.
Oh, awesome! I gotta just quick say this, and I'll probably say this more than once. But we had the show last week, and I've had some shows where we talk about kind of the paradrama and some of the negative stuff that's going on out there. And I just want to throw a good positive plug to you guys out there, because you really stick in my head as one of the groups very early on, when I first started really kind of going out there on Facebook and looking to interact with other teams and learn other things. That was, really positive and really supportive. So just like Kellie, our co-host tonight, and her group, PRIS, and you guys, and there's a number of others, but, I just want to call out and recognize that. And for anybody else out there listening, team-wise, that maybe hasn't linked up with New Jersey Paranormal or, followed their group on Facebook or anything like that, I would certainly encourage you to do that. They're a very good, very positive, good supportive group.
And I always find, and I'm sure for you, Matthew, the same thing. I know when John came to us, John has his own style that's different than mine or my brother John, who's also in the group. There's enough. It's more, to me, it's why fight with each other? Let's have a roundtable discussion about what our viewpoints are and what we've experienced on investigations and different thoughts about the way things work and the process we go through, versus, who's doing what and how they're doing it and who's the judge of what. I always find amazing when I look at some of the Facebook sites personally.
Yeah. I say this over and over and over again. But so people that listen to this all the time, I apologize, but I really believe strongly in this. Is if we all did everything the exact same way, which it certainly seems like some people out there want us all to do everything on the exact same protocols, then all that means is we're all repeating the same mistakes and we're not going to learn anything. And in something as wide open and as theoretical as this, the more people out there trying different things in the spirit of, not trying to fraud somebody, in the spirit of integrity, doing these things and sharing what we're seeing and what we're not seeing, that's how you're going to start connecting the dots on things here. It's not from beating people down and trying to follow one straight and narrow path on this. It's kind of going out there and experimenting and doing things. I mean, at least that's my opinion, but I feel very strongly about it.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Matt. And, like I said, I came into this relatively, I guess, new in this whole field. And when I joined the group, I mean, instantly they just accepted me in there and made me feel like I was one. I mean, it was a family-based group. So they actually made me feel like part of the family, and it just became so much more comfortable, just doing what you got to do.
Awesome. Well, I want to bring on Kellie, and I believe Kellie knows you as well here, but our co-host Kellie Wirtz from PRS in Wisconsin. Kellie, you got any questions, or just go ahead and say hello?
Oh, hey. Yeah, hello, definitely. I've been fans of you guys for a long time. I think, Barry, you were the one that answered my questions originally from my blog, didn't you?
Yes, I did,
Kellie.
It's so nice to talk to you.
Yes, it's nice to talk to you, too.
We don't have 40-degree mornings, though, down here. I haven't lost it for a while.
We're so used to it.
I sort of agree with Matthew. I really don't like to see that till, maybe December or something, around that time.
Oh, we get that end of August, beginning of September sometime.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was going to quick add on that. Yeah, on that weather thing, though. I was a winter weather wimp when I lived in Pennsylvania. I hated the winter stuff, and then I had about 3 years down here in North Carolina where I was spoiled and it didn't feel like it was winter at all. But basically, your body adjusts to wherever you're at, and so now winter here feels like winter, even though I readily admit it's not really like winter anywhere else. It's pretty darn mild.
It is, and I had experience like you did, Matthew. Years ago, I worked where I traveled a little bit, and one of our headquarters was up in Hudson Falls, New York, and from Central Jersey to drive up there. And I remember one year I went up there in October. It was right near Halloween, and they already had 3 inches of snow on the ground, and I was in shock. And they were like, "Oh, this is nothing," And then we had to go up to Buffalo, and it was the same thing. And I was like, "Oh my God." This doesn't happen near us till December or January, and it is. I guess part of it's just your attitude about everything.
Absolutely. So, Kellie, any questions for John or Barry?
Yes, Barry. You need to harass your brother and tell him he needs to answer his end of the questions now, so I can do a new blog on the new group. You need to get on him.
I will do that. I actually take the pleasure, and he's my younger brother, so it's a pleasure to do that.
Oh, I've got 4 younger brothers, so I know exactly. I like to harass and torture them.
Well, I was going to ask along those lines, it's kind of interesting that the fact that you're a family-based group. I mean, we talk about a field that's got certainly has its share of drama in it, and generally anytime families work together, that adds an extra kind of dynamic on things. So I'm just kind of curious, how does that work? Are your styles very different? Kind of how do you mesh? Just how does that whole thing work?
Actually, I'd rather John answer that because I don't want to sound biased, and John would be the person that came into the group to judge on how my brother John and I work and how he feels we work. So I'd rather let him answer that question. Well,
as far as first of all, the way they go about the investigations, I should say all of us in the group, first of all, very professional, but we go out, and while we're doing it, we enjoy having a good time while we do it. You know, there's the sense of I'm trying to think of the words I'm looking for. It's professionalism, but it's we have a good time while we do it, and I mean, I don't know, just like I said, I'm new in the whole field. I've only been doing it for about a year, and I think they're just great.
And Matthew, just my brother actually is. I was to say the difference is I'm more on the instrument side of things, and my brother is more about feeling things. I'll listen more. My brother is more interactive with the EVPs.
Yes.
He'll sit and do more EVP sessions constantly. And sometimes I actually, to be honest with you, I'll sit with him on investigations and go, okay, you know, and where I'll want to sit in a room and just listen and see if I hear a creak or a noise and really get a sense of the environment. We're all diligent on, let's take bass readings, how we use the instruments.
Barry, you're like the super ears.
Okay. But John, who came on board with us, is very good with analyzing evidence. It's like almost he's natural at it. He looks at things, and and he'll send it to us to review, and we'll look at it, and if we can, not even debunk it or have another explanation for it, I think is a better way of putting it than the word debunk all the time. We'll say, well, could it be this? And the three of us will sit and have a discussion about it, and come up with different theories or say, yes, this is something that we really can't explain. But definitely, because, John has a family, I have a family, my brother has a family, and I'm sure any other members out there, everybody has families that they're taking time away from to go do this. So, you want to also feel that it's not so regimented, and like you were saying, that there's not this is the protocol, this is what you will do, although we have to document certain things in a certain order and do take interviews and research the place, but also be a little bit relaxed. And have a good time at the same time, and enjoy being with each other.
Awesome. We have a caller, but I'm going to go ahead and preface this, and I bet about 100% on these that there's a certain cue that I can see here that usually when this comes through, it usually means that this is some type of prank, so I'm forewarning everybody on this. Last time I did this, I had a guy who started doing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air rap.
Okay.
But in all fairness here, This is what makes it interesting. So let's all just kind of hang on here and see what happens. Sunday Night Dead. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, am I on the air?
Yes, you are.
I want to know where the star of the group is. Why isn't he on the air?
Kelly, are you there?
I'm here.
Kelly, that's my brother, so you can ask him to do the clock.
Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Hey, well, it's great talking to you, and I'm glad, I hold my breath on these. I'm not going to give away what it is, but I've been warned about something. When you see a certain something in the call pattern, it usually is a crank, and that's usually what's happened to me. So I'm very glad that you've kind of broke the streak here. So, again, this is John Rigario, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was tempted to prank, but I wanted to bust their chops a little, especially my brother. But I don't want to give him a hard time. I do that enough.
As soon as he called in, I said, all right, he doesn't like the way everything's going, so he's going to come on now.
Someone had to save the show, Matt. You were drowning there. He was killing me.
No, it's been very, very good. This is a good time to just quick add in here, though. If anyone has any questions for John, Barry, or John, we can go ahead and you can enter it in the chat room, and we will relay it. Or you can feel free to give us a call, 646-929-2384. I should try to get the audio of this Fresh Prince thing, 'cause it was actually kind of funny, and I got to give the guy credit. It was kind of original, but he was going through this goofy story about something going through, looking in the window, and then his mom saw it too, and his mom got scared, and so she said, "You're moving to your aunt and uncle and Bill," and then he started going into the whole thing, but it was actually kind of original how he did it, but that was my first prank. So, John, how would you describe kind of the whole family dynamic there with working on the team then? And so is that kind of how you would describe it too? That you're more on more of the intuitive side of things, and Barry's more the equipment side?
Well, Barry's very familiar with all the equipment. Barry knows all of the theories behind the equipment, why they're used. When you said more of the intuitive, I do more of the EVP stuff because I don't like a dead moment when you do an investigation and we're sitting in a room and it's quiet and there's nothing going on. I'll start it up again. I mean, that's what I do. I could talk for 3 hours without stopping. That's just me. But I'm
sorry. Go on.
But we do. We all work really well together. And like you said, we like to joke around a lot because we are family. We could do that. And John fits right in that mode to where we have a good time, and we are, like John said, very serious about it. But we are really comfortable together, so it works.
And we lend it. And let me explain with my brother, with the EVPs, not only that, he's always conscious of, like, I'll be more involved in sweeps, but my brother's also conscious of where the camera should be placed, how when we review the evidence, where the hot spots are, how the client, researching it. And that's where we all have our strong points when we go on an investigation, and we let each other take those areas. And that's what really, I think, lets us mesh so well, is that we don't step on each other's toes. And my brother's very much with the EVPs and setting up the cameras in certain ways, and making sure that, we catch this, did we get that, and here's a hot spot, and sitting with the clients and really going through thoroughly what they've experienced.
Now, I got a question for you guys, because this is something I've noticed, but I'm just curious, particularly in your situation here. I have found in investigations that, particularly on the EVP side, that there are some people that I would describe as magnets and some that I would describe as kind of wet blankets or kind of repellers. And so, we go out in certain areas, and it just seems to be that certain people get all the comments and things associated around them, and then other people will be right there, nearby, and absolutely nothing. Have you noticed that? John, do you get most of the EVPs then because you're interacting that way, or what's been your experience on that line?
Well, for me, I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's just a matter of how you approach it. When you do an EVP session, for me, I perform it as if I'm talking to someone, and I base all the questions around the claims and the history of the building. But it just like I'm talking to you, that's how I perform an EVP session. A lot of people sort of repeat the same questions over and over. Is there somebody here? Is anybody near us? You just sort of have to. They were people at one time, so that's sort of how you have to approach it.
And I would say that he is more the magnet with it. I tend to get way less in EVPs and do ask more of the repetitive questions at times.
I told you I was the star of the show, right, Matt?
Sorry?
I said I told you I was the star of the show, right, Matt?
Well, I've noticed that. I guess when I say like the magnet and the web, but I think it's related. And this is just my own opinion, but I think it's related to a combination of style, and then I honestly say, and this is weird, I don't know what could be behind this, but the people that go into areas with the more negative, skeptical attitudes, from what I've seen, tend to get less activity. You can come up with a couple of reasons as to possibly why, but that's just been the two patterns I've noticed. So I think part of the magnet versus wet blanket is style, but then I think another part of it is attitude. I view it as if you're lost somewhere and you're trying to approach someone for directions, you're probably going to approach the person that looks friendlier than the person that doesn't. And
right.
So, I'm making some jumps here, but that's kind of how I view it. So.
And I also think it's just like anything else. If you like to have a conversation with somebody, and you or I could sit at a restaurant or a diner somewhere at a counter, and you can meet, like you said, the friendly person that you don't mind you could talk a football game or a baseball game with, and they just have that way about them. And I think even if you're no longer here and entities at one time were human, it's going to still be the same way, that you're going to like that friendly personality, or that person that's talking a lot, how would you feel if I kept asking you for 3 or 4 hours? Is your name Matt? Do you live in Wisconsin? Do you live in North Carolina? You're going to probably say, this guy's, you know what, I don't want to answer him at all, versus having a conversation with somebody, you know?
Yes, and we've brought that up a lot when we talk about some of the historic locations as well, that, not only with one person, but, if you're hanging out in an area and you just have this, ongoing parade of people saying the same, what's your name, where are you? So it's definitely, I think that has something to do with it, too. I see a number of it where it just seems to be comments over the things that you're doing. So sometimes it's not even a matter of, and I know John's in the chat room, and I know John and Katie have experienced this as well, where you can just go ahead and have a conversation. And if you go ahead and have a conversation about something that might be of interest to the entities there based on kind of history or timing and things, you can elicit reactions. One thing I tried on the Battleship North Carolina, and it didn't work out, but I was really hoping it would, was since a lot of World War II time, baseball was kind of king sports-wise and stuff. I was trying to stir up all kinds of baseball conversations and trying to bring up popular teams at the time, just try to see if I could get some type of reaction one way or another. Or since you had basically on that battleship, you would have people from all over the country combined in the same location. You might be able to get some kind of reaction there or not. Sadly, it didn't work, but I thought it was worth the try.
I mean, we've even had EVP. I'm sorry. Go on, John.
No, I think it is like you said, though, Matt. A lot of the EVPs do sort of chime in as you're talking about something else. You do get the reaction once in a while to a question, but a lot of the times I'll be talking to Barry or John or somebody else, and a voice will just chime in out of nowhere. You'll hear it on the headphones, and that's sort of along with the whole provoking thing. We don't do a lot of provoking because it's just like you said. Would you want someone to talk to you like, hey, you don't want me here, shout something out, tell me to leave? Who's going to respond to that? So we don't do a lot of that either.
And we've also had EVPs, and in one case with my brother, we were in Hightstown at a Masonic lodge, and his record, we had my recorder and his recorder in the same room, and his recorder kept getting shut off, and he actually picks it up, and he says, this is the second time tonight this has happened. And he picks up his recorder and walks away. When I'm playing back my recorder, when he picks it up and walks away, you clearly hear someone say, what was that? Very faint, very whispery, but you hear it. And I played it for him. So we've had a few instances, too, where EVPs have been in response to either things we've had around at times or things that were around.
Oh, wow.
If I could actually add to that, we had that one where John was walking and he tripped over the metal chair. And he said, thank you for tripping me. And there was a response that was something like, oh, it's nothing. And it was just like perfect timing as he tripped over the chair.
I tripped on this last one too, John. Remember that?
Yeah.
I do that. So I do that a lot.
Tripping over the chair?
No, I tripped down the step on this last one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Now I've seen on your site that you kind of have a balance of some historic and some personal locations. What would you say, roughly, is the breakdown of kind of private locations that you investigate versus a more public area? This year it's been more historic locations, but I'll let my brother talk more about that.
No, you're right about. We've had a rush of historic locations. It seems like after we got a few, I started to, I was contacted by so many of them, one after the other, and we're in central New Jersey, so it was basically in that area. So we're hoping for more private, but for now we've been really busy with the commercial stuff and the historical places.
Oh, wow. You have a great point there, Tim. There's so much, anyone that's not been in that part of the country, there's just so much history in that area with the, colonial times and Revolutionary War. Just a lot of old locations, old historic locations, which, again, it's all relative. So if anyone hears this that's from Europe, they can laugh. But again, it's lots of history there in central New Jersey. So what are some of, out of the ones you can talk about, obviously, some of these things are confidential, but out of the ones you can discuss, what were some of your favorite locations that you've been able to check out?
John, I'll let you answer that. Either John.
Well, John, you could talk about which one was your favorite so far.
My favorite so far had to be that the Board of Ed building. There was a lot of activity there, and I mean, I was sitting for once behind a desk, and right in front of me there was a loud bang, and the voice that was right in John's ear when he was walking by, he scared him. I mean, there was a lot of activity in that building.
We were in a Board of Ed building that used to be a school. It was built in the late 1800s, and it's been rumored to have been haunted for a really long time in the town. It was one of those urban legends. Everybody says it was haunted. And we were invited in, the first people to ever come in and investigate it. And never before have I had something scream in my ear. That was the first time. And I have the video clip, and we're going to show it at one of the events we're going to be in, but it had to be edited by John to where it's you hear the scream and you hear me go on a cursing tirade, and all the entire video is scream, beep, beep, I'm going to beep, 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 I can't believe beep, beep, beep. It's just constant beeping because I've never had anything like that happen to me before. It was right in my ear. And they're laughing because they were laughing at me because I wouldn't even go back in that room after that.
And Matthew, it's a 4-story building, and it has one of those atrium roofs. So it's a very big building, and there was some really, I don't want to use the word great claims, but there were really good claims. And the most amazing thing for us, and one of the things we found with the historical groups and historical societies that we deal with, is my brother a lot of times initiates, or is the first person they contact, or he contacts them. And then when we talk to them, the most amazing thing I find is just sitting there with these people is a lot of them are telling us, listen, I don't believe in this stuff, but here's what happened. And they'll tell you an event that happened. And in that building, they had a guy that worked in the tech department in back that was tapped on the shoulder, and people claimed to see a woman walking down the hallways. And it's a Board of Ed building. There's no reason these people would not, why would they make stuff up like this? And they sat with my brother, and actually he interviewed each one of them. And they're working for the town. And it was, to have access, and they actually said, yes, we're going to, you can go in there this night, and we're going to lock you in there. So for us, it was the biggest thing we've ever done as far as the amount of the area we had to cover and the obstacles. But it also had a lot of claims from that to, like my brother said, it was a school at one time, and there was a report of a woman, her husband was waiting to pick her up, and he saw a woman in the window, and it was on the 4th floor, and there was no one there, and it's just an attic storage space. And then just a lot of those claims. And, we had a girl, Courtney, that actually is an historian in the town, also assist us with some of the information and documents about the place. So it was one of those things that we were really excited about doing. And it was, for this year, it was definitely one of my favorites, too.
Awesome. Kelly, you had a question?
Yeah, actually, I was just wondering, I happened to notice you guys are doing an event at a library, and because I had just gotten contacted and to do like a talk at a library, and I was wondering, how do you guys, have you done a lot of them? Do you get a good response?
They're really fun because depending on how you do them, everybody that shows up, they're into the paranormal. They watch all the shows, so they're ready to go. So depending on how you do it, it's fun interacting with people right there in front of you that are as into the paranormal as you are, and to present the evidence that you have and some of the audio, and to watch their faces, and then the questions, the Q&A back and forth. It's a lot of fun. I recommend for everyone to do them if you can.
Yeah, we did one right in Johnstown in Old Bridge, and we were actually, the librarian, we were concerned, could we take up a full hour of just us being up on a stage and showing evidence and discussing instruments and were we just going to get the people from the library there? And it turned out we had a lot of people that were into paranormal. The whole event, it was a full event. And just what John was saying is the great part, Kelly, was the Q&A part. We went overtime, and the librarian came in and said, no, just keep going, because people had so many questions. And they were all great questions about different things, and it was just a nice conversation to have. I would highly recommend to any group that's out there, if you could do a library event, to definitely do it.
Yeah, it's cool, because I was reading, I don't technically stalk your page anymore because, I've done your blog, but I was reading today, and it was really interesting to see that you guys are going to go do that. So speaking of, I heard you guys mention Wisconsin before. Does that mean that you're going to possibly come visit, just not in the winter?
If we did, it'd be the first week of August or last week of July. I'm not going that far north in the winter. My brother had us up in New York State last winter, and that was far enough for me.
You don't want to come to minus 20-degree weather?
We never really knew what the boonies meant until we went as far into New York as we did during the last winter. I mean, we were in no man's land. There were houses miles apart, and it was total darkness. And Matthew, I don't know if you're familiar. Well, you're familiar. You're from Philadelphia. We're used to, like, a Dunkin' Donuts is down the road for us, and literally when we were in New York State, we felt like we weren't. I'm saying that my brother was driving, and I'm saying we haven't passed the house for 20 minutes. How can that be? We literally haven't passed the house. And when we entered this place for the investigation, and we came out, there was 2 inches of snow on the ground. It was, it's just in upstate New York. It was freezing cold, and it took another 45 minutes to where we hit a Dunkin' Donuts. And my brother's laughing because I'm saying, finally, civilization again. Just get me on the thruway. Get me home at some point.
I'll quick add on the cold thing here, and my friend Matt Renan, who's on here too, he makes fun of me because he spent time in North Dakota, and he likes winter weather much more than I do, and we both live down here. But anyone who's investigated with me hopefully can attest to this. But I'm kind of very intense when I do this. I don't want to waste like a second in a location. So, it pains me to, stop to use the restroom or get a drink or anything. I just want to go full time in there. The only investigation I ever cut short was St. Albans in January in Virginia, and that wasn't because the location wasn't good, because it was an awesome location, but and it wasn't even that bad. Kelly's going to laugh here. It's like October weather for her. It was 25. Which and we were bundled up, but by about hour 7 of 25, I was done. I was no longer enjoying the investigation piece, and time to go into the car and crank the heat going. But the only investigation I ever cut short was due to cold temperatures. So I don't think I could go minus 20.
And that's what it was. When we were up in New York State, it was. They had a main house, and then houses like little cabins that were further up that they wanted us to investigate. And the cabins had no heat. And I made the mistake it was January, of wearing sneakers with, a winter coat. And my feet were frozen. And I just never felt that cold. And, you're just waiting, and I'm like, okay, it's 12 o'clock now, and I'm really cold. And it was just counting what was going to be worse. Was the temperature going to drop much more than this? So I don't think Wisconsin. I'll go up in July or August. That's it for me.
No, I have heard. I haven't done it enough to say one way or another, and I've actually gotten mixed feedback from groups on this question. But I have heard. Some people claim that they get more activity and that things tend to be more active and better in cold weather as opposed to hot weather. Now, I don't know. Again, I certainly haven't done enough to know, but
I read, Matthew. I read some articles on that, and again, part of the theory is if it's electromagnetic static electricity, or anybody's trying to grab the molecules and they're creating a static charge or a magnetic field. part of the theory that they have out there, or argument that they have, is on hot, humid nights, it's not a good conductor. On a clear, cold night, electricity or static is going to travel easier because the moisture is not going to grab it. Last weekend we were on in a location where we've been at places where it's been 85, 86 degrees and had events happen, and we've been in places where it's 20 degrees at night and had things happen.
Yeah, the wildest night I had activity-wise was actually a 96, 97 degree with really high humidity. So, I mean, it definitely. But I've heard that theory as well. I just haven't done it long enough in that weather, and I don't know whether I have the tolerance to do it to get enough experience to make a call one way or another. All right, well, maybe this is another member of your team, but I will say this is the same pattern here, so we have another call. Everyone hold your breath. We'll see what happens. Welcome to Sunday Night Dead. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Mike.
Hey, Mike, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Wisconsin.
All right. I had a feeling, due to Kellie's reaction, you guys know each other. So I'll let Kellie do the intro.
This would be my co-founder, Mike Hope.
How you doing, Mike?
How you doing, Mike? Good, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
All right. Cool.
Got a question, or did you just call to harass Kellie, or what's up?
I do that on my spare time. I have an actual question for you guys.
Okay.
I put a little post up on our website, which is it's PIRS actually. And my question for you guys is, what do you like the least about doing investigations?
I'm sorry. Right. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I missed part of that.
What is the least part of an investigation you guys like?
Driving home at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning after being up all night.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
That's really the part that's the worst. And then having to get up the next day.
I know that feeling well.
Yeah, the drive, the post-investigation drive, I would definitely rank up there, and then second to that would be just the general overall sleep deprivation impact for the week and stuff going along with that. So definitely, those would be my least favorite. But let's see. Let's keep. I'm kind of losing track of who weighed in here. So anyone else wants to weigh in? Either John, Barry, Kellie. Feel free. As other things you dislike about investigations the most.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I would have to say disliking it would definitely be the ride home. It does, it takes a toll on you, but when you get up and you start doing the review, it makes it all worth it.
All right.
Absolutely.
That's about all I had for you guys.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We got another call. This is great. So now watch. This one doesn't have the pattern. Watch. This will be a prank.
Might be another member of Kellie's group.
area code 773. Welcome to Sunday Night Dead. Who are we speaking with? Hello. Caller from area code 773.
No, my refrigerator is not running. Thank you.
Are you there? All right. Well, technically they're saying they're still there, but please, if you just called and you just got dropped, please try to call back. I don't know if there was a bad connection or what was going on there. So, all right. Yeah, I would definitely say the drive is the least enjoyable piece of it, and those times where I've happened to be, just because of the dynamics on it solo on the drive are particularly not fun to do. But, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Again, another thing, and I wouldn't want to do it in. We had to do one where, again, kind of going on this whole winter theme, where I lucked out, but it was a fairly long drive, and right along. It ended up not going down to 32, thank goodness. It stayed at like 33, 34, but it was like borderline chance of getting an ice storm overnight, and that would have been, doing the 5 o'clock drive in ice in the middle of the night would not have been a fun thing. Okay, let's see. They came back. Let's see if we can get them here. Welcome to Sunday Night Dead, area code 773. Who are we speaking with tonight?
Hey, how you doing? I'm a first-time listener. My name is Kerry. I'm from Illinois.
Hey, Kerry, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. I watched those investigations on TV, and I was curious if you ever wanted to come here to Illinois and look at Bachelor's Grove. It's supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Chicagoland.
Oh, we've actually been there.
Oh.
We were just there in August.
And what did you find it to be, a good place for paranormal activity?
Hey, Kerry, just real quick, just to help. Do you have your computer volume on? Can you mute it by any chance?
Yeah, let me leave the room. That way you won't hear it.
Okay.
I'll come out here.
There's some distortion there. I might have people listening might have a hard time hearing. Thanks.
There, that should be better, right?
Yeah, that's much better.
It's well, I'm glad you guys came out there. Now, when you came to Bachelor's Grove, did you happen to see and hear a lot of the activity that they talk about? There's quite a few things that goes on there. Were you lucky enough to capture any of that on video?
We weren't at that time, but I've got two really good friends that were with us, Dan and Alan from WAPS, and they had actually been down there and actually had seen someone walk across that really wasn't there. So that's kind of why we had gone down there. And they had, seen, they'd heard stuff. Unfortunately, when we went down, I didn't catch anything, but it is a really incredible place to go to.
Yeah, myself and my two sons, we had gone there. It was during the day. And there was like maybe 6 or 7 other people there when we got there, but like I would imagine the best time to go probably would be in the evening hours.
Yeah, because when we went, there was a lot of people there too, and it's kind of hard to really do any serious investigation at that point when there's so many people walking around. But it's a great place. I recommend it. We also went to Mount Carmel Cemetery down there too. That's another place that was really awesome.
Would that be the Resurrection Mary?
No, this is a little bit further down.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah. Yeah, Illinois is filled with lots of goodies like this.
Oh, it's great.
I myself have had things happen to me in my own little area here in Chicagoland that leads me to believe that a lot of this is actually going on.
Let's can you tell us a little bit about some of your experiences?
Well, okay, I had an experience in my house, my old house on Gray Street in Chicagoland. I had moved out, and I was in there helping out my son move some things, and I'm divorced. And my dad and I, we used to go in the basement and watch Chicago Cubs games, and we would have a few shots of whiskey every now and then, watching the game. And my dad had passed in 1983. Now, granted, 10 years have gone by, and I'm in the house. And my ex-wife comes up from the basement where we used to go. And all of a sudden I had this overwhelming aroma of early times in the air. And everybody else smelled it. And I said, Katie, have you been drinking? She goes, no, of course not. I go, well, don't you smell that whiskey smell? It smells just like early times. She goes, oh, yeah, I do. So I know darn well that was my father. He's still there in the house.
Well.
Oh, wow. Wow. And Kelly or Kerry, Kelly, I'll lead off with you on this just for our listeners here that maybe aren't as familiar with or aren't in the Illinois area. Can you tell us a little bit about Bachelor's Grove and a little bit of the history and claims in that area?
Well, they supposedly have a house that appears out of nowhere in the marshland, and there's lots of orbs that float around. There's soldiers that appear in uniform. What else? There's that's about it, I guess. A lot of that's going on right there. There's a cemetery there, and I believe that's one of the reasons why the soldiers are appearing. for. It all depends, I guess, when you're there, though. You know, it's just a hit, like you say, it's a hit and miss situation. But and then there's also like the Resurrection Mary, where people have actually picked her up and taken her to different places around town, from what I understand. And then, whoops, she's gone like a whisper in the night.
Interesting.
Well, the cemetery itself, it used to be a really just big, beautiful, functioning cemetery, and unfortunately, over the years, it's just the graves have been moved, and I mean, it's really just like a couple of gravestones here and there, and it's all this overgrown, plants and whatnot, and it's not even a fully functioning cemetery anymore. It's sad because
they don't keep it up. No one's there really to watch after anything. It's just, I mean, the road itself leading to the cemetery and all the activity is in it's quite an eye-opening walk, because you're in this mode of anticipation before getting to where you got to be. And I guess right within that area is where that supposed house appears out of nowhere.
Wow.
Well, listen, thanks for letting me on. I never thought I'd get through right away. It was pretty cool. And guys keep up the good work.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. And just want to let everyone... I'm sorry?
I said it's funny, you were talking about the different times of the days and things happening and not happening. When we were in that building, that Board of Ed building, there was one particular office where the scream happened, and we captured a lot of activity. And I talked to the gentleman who occupies that office every day, and he said to me, I've never heard anything. I've never seen anything. And I said to him, well, have you ever been in there between 12 midnight and 3 in the morning? Because I was, and something screamed in my ear, and I showed him the video. And he was really surprised, so it's kind of funny how that works, too.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, we are at the 10 o'clock hour, so time for a short music break here. Let everyone do a bio break, get some refills on their drinks, anything they would like to do. So I am going to play, again, 2 songs here, so probably going to be about 6 minutes or so. And then we will be back with New Jersey Paranormal and Kellie Wirtz. And also, second hour, anyone out investigating over the weekend that would like to call in and fill us in on how your experiences went, we can do that as well. So we will be back in about 6 minutes. Again, you are listening to Sunday Night Dead. welcome back to Sunday Night Dead. I'm Matthew Slozer here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And with me this evening is my co-host, Kellie Wirtz from Paranormal Research and Investigation Society in Wisconsin. And unfortunately, Barry Ruggiero needed to leave, but we still have John Domatico, and I believe John Ruggiero. Are you still on the line as well?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, great. Yeah, so before we get too late here, I just wanted to make sure, because just so everyone knows out there, New Jersey Paranormal was going to be able to hang out with us for maybe an hour, maybe a little bit, just over an hour. So I want to make sure for our listeners out there, they get all the contact information for you and your team. So why don't you guys go ahead and let people know out there how they can get in touch with you if they want to network.
You could contact us through our website at www.newjerseyparanormal.com, or you can follow us on Facebook. Just search New Jersey Paranormal. That's where, of course, you can be, interactive with us and interact with us. I'm the one always on the Facebook, so I'm usually the person you're going to be talking to. So any questions you have, that's either, again, through the website or through the Facebook.
So I guess question I had, so you had the incident where you had the screaming in the ear, and it's funny, I was just, we were going over some audio with my team this week, and as a joke, I pulled it all together because I didn't realize it until I went through all these, that when something catches me off guard, I have the same reaction. It's basically holy and then a biological function. And so I did this montage of
I think maybe we should carry like little buttons around with us, little bleep buttons that we could just press on our hip.
It's like, well, at least now I know. I can tell everybody. I'm like, it caught me off guard because if my reaction is holy, bleep, that is. That is my standard reaction when I am surprised by something. But I'm curious, was that the most kind of uncomfortable or surprising moment you've ever had, or was there something else along those lines?
No, well, for me it was. I've never been scared before, I guess is the word. We've been in a lot of dark buildings and a lot of different places, and I never really felt threatened. We haven't come across that, investigation where we've been pushed or a door slammed in our face or anything like that. This was the first time where I really did feel like something didn't want me in the room, and it was going to let me know, and it did let me know. And there was a lot of other things in that room. I left a recorder in that room even after that had happened for 4 or 5 hours. And as I listened through all the audio, it sounded like somebody was working in that office the whole entire time. Footsteps, you hear the chair move, you hear paper shuffle. It seemed like somebody was there, and they weren't too happy that we were in their space at that time. So, yeah, it kind of made me a little nervous.
Oh, wow. John Domatico, how about you? What's been your most uncomfortable moment so far?
Actually, one of the most, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but personal experiences was actually very recent. It actually happened on the last investigation. We were sitting down it was an old church pew, and I was on a pew with myself and Barry, and John was sitting a little bit to the right. And as we were sitting there, something actually banged the pew so hard that it shook. And we just looked at each other like, what just happened? So that was, caught us off guard.
Gotcha. How about, I guess, flip this over again to John Ruggiero. I don't know, maybe it is the same location. Is there a location that sticks out in your mind that you can talk about that just particularly uncomfortable? So maybe, no surprises or no kind of creepy moments in it, but just the overall atmosphere in the building just very, very uncomfortable. Anything kind of stand out investigation-wise?
No, not really. I mean, the Board of Ed was the first time I've ever been uncomfortable, but the building that we had that I would say had sort of the most activity was the Masonic Lodge that we did. It was just a whole lot of little things that added up, just noises coming from everywhere, the devices going nuts on command, hearing whispers from different parts of the building. It was just a really strange experience. We went back there 2 or 3 times, and the brothers at the Masons Lodge, they couldn't believe the instruments are going off because of a breaker or because of this. And we went in there the last time and we shut every breaker off and just the emergency lights were on. And still the instruments on command were lighting up to our questions. Lighting up, shutting off, lighting up, shutting off on command. And it was just a lot of things going on. And that really hasn't happened since. A lot of investigations, and Kellie knows, sometimes you're on them and you're there for hours and hours and nothing's happening, and then you review the evidence and you hear a voice or two or you see something on the video, and, that happens a lot. So it's kind of rare where there's a lot of activity, and that was one of the times that sort of surprised me.
And to add to that, we had caught that one EVP that time. Remember, we couldn't even make out what they were saying, and it turned out that they were talking in the Masonic code that they talk in.
Yeah, they have sort of a code, the way they greet each other to prove that they're a Mason. And one of the words we caught on an EVP, I thought it was a foreign language, and I played it for one of the brothers, and he smiled. And he said to me, "You wouldn't know what that is, but I know what that is." He said, "It's the way that we greet each other." So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just real quick, want to throw out, if you have any questions for New Jersey Paranormal here, you can type them in on the chat room, or you can give us a call at 646-929-2384 and talk to John and John from New Jersey Paranormal. Another question is, I'm sure you get this all the time. This has got to be, in my opinion, this is the number one asked question, particularly from people that don't do investigations. Any experiences, and I'll add this, that I think personally this is just bad marketing from the Walt Disney Company, that anyone goes to Walt Disney World and they ride on the Haunted Mansion, you go visit the Haunted Mansion and a hitchhiking ghost follows you home. Any problems or experiences with, anything after an investigation that, somebody maybe tagged along to pay a visit or something?
Not for me personally, no.
I've got a crazy story for you. I never believed in any of that, and I'm still not really sure that I do. But it was something weird and out of the ordinary that happened to me. I don't know if you've seen our page, but I've started posting these pictures of these haunted dolls from eBay, and people list these dolls. They say they're haunted. If you want to buy them, you'll have activity in your house. And one was a little old lady, and I posted it on the page.
I saw that last night.
Okay, and I posted all the description about it and everything, and I had the picture saved, my files and my pictures, and I have my screensaver, which is something, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so I have my Dallas Cowboy screensaver, and 2 days after posting that, I wake up, I turn on my computer, and that picture of that old woman is my wallpaper. I am not kidding. And I may have done it, as I was clicking through pictures. I may have right-clicked and set as background. I'm saying that could have happened, but I turned on my computer and I almost fell off the couch. It was so bizarre to see that old woman staring at me.
Well, I tell you, if you come downstairs and see her on your oven like that picture,
exactly.
You're gonna have one of those holy bleep reactions.
I'm calling John Zappis. He's coming to my house. I'm going to call the haunted collector. I'm letting him take it.
I just want a quick ad here. Just a quick hit. And I have to say that to the person that put this in here, I have never heard this question before, so I will throw this out here. This is a very interesting question. Question from the chat room. Do you think dilating your eyes with drops would be helpful for seeing spirits during an investigation? I will let you guys comment first on that one before I...
How could you trust in what you're seeing if your eyes are dilated? I mean, how could you say for certain that you did see something if you're manipulating your eyesight.
Yeah, I would agree. That would mess up your more or less mess up your baseline kind of.
Yeah, I got a feeling you're going to see a lot of things if you do that. and then don't try going out in the sun afterwards either, because that'll be really bad.
It's a interesting question though. So whoever I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, Keiku. That's definitely an interesting thought. So thank you very much for sending that in. Yeah, so that's really interesting with the with that doll picture. Then that's
it was just kind of weird. Like I said, I may have done it, but that was really weird when I turned on my computer and I saw that. It was just like, uh-oh.
And anyone out there, you got to check out the picture that stood out in my head. I saw it fairly late last night when I was cruising through and checking things out, and I believe it was on your site when I was checking things out for the show. And I was like, oh wow, even if there's nothing to this, that is just a disturbing looking little doll. It's just, I don't know, something creepy about that.
We
I
have
wouldn't want it in my house.
There's someone from another group. His name is Matthew. His name is also Matthew, and he posts a lot on our wall. And he said he was going to buy it and perform tests on it. And I don't know if I would invite anything like that into my house on purpose, even if it wasn't true. Why
take the chance?
That?
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh yeah, absolutely not, absolutely not. Very interesting, John DeMonico. How about you? Any? Well, I'll actually ask a two-part one. Part one, any experiences kind of post-investigation with things? And if not, how often do you get asked by people if you do get those experiences?
Well, there's a lot of people that are curious about, what happens before, during, after. No, I've never personally had an experience, but I've definitely had, especially friends and family ask all the time, aren't you afraid something's going to follow you home? And me personally, no, I don't think that I'm worried about something following me home. I mean, as far as spirits go, I believe they have a right to go wherever they want to go, and there's nothing that's going to stop them, not so much from following, but from going from place to place. They're usually in a location, in my belief, because they want to be there. So I don't think that they're going to follow anybody home.
Okay. What about you, Matt and Kelly? Have you ever felt sort of creeped out after an investigation?
Kelly, do you want to go first?
Sure. No, not really. I know that when we were in Villisca, it was very kind of, I think it was more the history that really got to me more than anything. But no, I don't think I've ever really been creeped out.
I'll add a couple things here. One, when I said about that magnet and wet blanket, and I don't really understand fully why, but I tend to be the magnet. So when our team goes out, like the vast majority of the stuff seems to be kind of hanging around me. I wouldn't say it's following me home. I have had odd experiences for a good portion of my life. This could end up being some type of sleep disorder. I don't know, but I will say it's odd. I'd say on average about 2 times a year, I will wake up and there'll be somebody standing in my bedroom. Wouldn't have been dreaming about them. Wouldn't have been, it's not that I was even having any kind of dream related to it. I wake up and there's somebody kind of standing there and then they disappear. I always chalked it up to dreams until the second time I went to Trans-Allegheny. I went around with a box of Cracker Jack because there was a story about Lily liking Cracker Jack. And that investigation, more than others, I recorded several times a little girl kind of like next to me, like we'd be walking down the hall and you get like a little giggle. Or what is very odd is 3 nights in that week that I came home, I woke up and saw the same girl standing at the foot of the bed. No interaction, just wake up, see the girl slowly vanishes. So my theory is it's not necessarily from investigations as much as I think they're all around us anyway. I think that kind of spiritual realm or whatever you want to, I think they can move, and I think it's always around us. It's just a matter of, your senses and where you're at the time, how well you are able to tune it out. I think it's something that we learn as we get older to kind of tune out. And so it's, I don't know if that's really answering the question or not, but following home, no. But I have had things around me. I have things going on. We moved into this house in December, and I've had a number of really odd things happen in this house, and I've still been, there's no history here, so I've been trying to determine on that as well. Is it something more associated with me, or is it something associated with the location? So yeah, in a nutshell, that's my view on it.
Okay.
Hang on here. Yeah. So you're always ask this one too, because I'm really curious. Let's start with John Ruggiero. Your investigation bucket list, I guess, kind of your realistic location and maybe the dream location. Where would you like to get into?
Well, I think the dream location for me would probably be the Stanley Hotel, just because, it's a Stanley Hotel. After watching that episode of Ghost Hunters where they heard the children's voices in the basement, and I know people have their theories of the Ghost Hunters and what they do and what they don't do, but just from what I've heard about that location from everywhere would make me just want to get in there. And as far as a realistic one, I really don't have any right now. We're so busy and doing so many things that I really don't have the time to think about, I'd really like to get in that place. It's just sort of doing what we're doing, and that's about it.
How about you, John Domenico?
As far as a realistic one, right now I would be happy going anywhere where somebody needs our assistance. But as far as a dream location, this is probably one that nobody even really thinks about. But I would love to investigate Ellis Island. I think it has such a strong history there, and with a lot of the immigrants coming over, who were sick and wanted to perishing on the island, I think it would have a lot of activity.
I think that would be very cool. That would be very cool. I'll throw out one that I have thought of, but I hesitated on this before because so I got to preface this that I'm saying from an interest standpoint, not because this is a very, 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 very tragic location. Not from a certainly no intention to exploit or any disrespect to the people that were there. But a site that I have always thought about that would be very, very interesting because of how tragic it was if you remember the Jonestown mass suicide in the late 70s in Guyana, I got to think that's one heck of a hot.
I could imagine.
Again, not sure. I'm actually even, before anyone gets ticked off and sends me, hate mail and everything, I'm even conflicted as to about whether I would even do it.
They will, Matt.
No, I know. I already get the orbs are already pissed at me. So, I'd even be conflicted if I had the opportunity whether I would do it or not, just because of the nature and circumstance of that. So, I want to be very, very clear. I mean no disrespect on any of those things, or would want to, would not want to exploit it. But I've always wondered, as far as, kind of paranormal activity goes and things, just the whole circumstances about that and what went down there and how it went down, again, that's got to be one heck of a hot location.
Well, that's a fine line that we walk to in doing what we do is when is it too soon to go someplace? Because we got a call a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, a woman called me. She said her and her boyfriend had broken up. They got back together. She woke up one morning 6 weeks ago, and he was hanging in the kitchen.
Oof.
And ever since then, she's been hearing whispers in her ear at night. The kitchen drawers have been opening. And, she asked us before she moved out of there at the end of the month, she wanted us to come in and sort of validate whether she was, crazy or whether there really was something there. And we were really busy. We had a lot going on, but at the time I just didn't feel comfortable doing it because family members, people, it was an apartment complex, people who lived in the building, he may have had friends there. I just didn't want to get mixed up and all that. So that's one we sort of, we didn't take on because it was just a little too soon.
Oh, I totally understand that. And it's an odd, and I'm just speaking in generalities, not about this specific one, but this is odd thing. I've seen this link, and I'm sure you've probably seen it to some degree too, between some type of I'm going to say mental disturbance, but I don't mean necessarily somebody being psychotic or something. Just troubled and paranormal activity. And I always wonder, it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Does the activity induce the disturbances, or does the disturbances attract the activity? So then in situations like that, when you have the questions, it becomes a matter of, could that be the spirit of the person that passed, or could there have been activity in that location that influenced that person? It's an interesting, and I know that starts getting into some of the spiritual stuff, and again, another one that'll generate hate mail here, but it's just an interesting. There's some, I can't tell you how many, and I'm going to be very, very generic here, just because of the confidentiality pieces. But how many locations you end up going to on the private side, at least from my experience, where when you do the history on the location, somewhere back in that history there is activity and some type of mental disturbance, whether it's depression or suicide or alcoholism, or I've actually seen the number where it's schizophrenia, where you see these kind of trains of or trends of schizophrenia that wouldn't make sense because it's not genetically linked, and it's just very odd. And so I've always wondered about that, and that's something kind of in the background that I just kind of keep an eye on, is seeing kind of where the data leads in that regard. But I've definitely seen a relationship there.
Well, it's a fine line you have to walk, and you have to be open to hearing all claims, no matter how far-fetched they may sound. You really do have to take them on an individual basis and do the best you can to validate the claims. I mean, that's how we go into everything, with an open mind, no matter what the story is or who is telling the story. I believe what they say until we're through with our investigation, and we go through everything, and then I tell them, look, we were able to validate your claims, or unfortunately, on that night, we weren't able to catch anything. I never say maybe it's not true, or I tell them what we were able to find, and that's it.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. John Ruggiero, if you could only investigate with one piece of equipment, what piece of equipment would you investigate with?
For me, it would be my digital recorder.
I figured. Same here.
Because everybody says how I am with the EVPs, but I just, for me, you could question any other piece of equipment, and you could question the digital recorder as well, because it depends on all the variables. But everything else, the K2 meter, a Mel meter, someone could say, oh, it's because of that, it's because of that, it's because of that. But the digital recorder, if you're using it and you're in a group and you know what the conditions are and you use it the right way and there's nobody around and nobody's whispering, you hear that voice, you know it's not anybody on your team. You know yourself that was probably something else in the room that was paranormal. So that's the piece of equipment that I would use.
I have to agree on that.
I'll quick, kind of throw this plug in. I've mentioned this before, and I'm really not trying to be cocky or anything on this, but when people throw out the you can't count it because it could be a cell phone or it could be a radio. What I would still love to see, and you're in a much denser populated area than I am, I've always mentioned that, is if it's radio signals and phone signals, one of the best areas to have an EVP session should be around Times Square then. And you should be able to, set up, assuming you can find somewhere reasonably quiet in that general vicinity, and have an EVP session. And I'm not saying just record voices, but I'm saying having something comparable to what people get at, an asylum or a hospital or a prison,
right.
Where you're getting, similar types of responses, similar types of sounds. And so, because, I've run, just to kind of toy around, I've run mine in my office, run the recorder and things like that, and I don't get random voices, coming through. I don't know. It's just my sampling. I'm not saying that's a definitive answer, but There's a lot more cell phones
you take into consideration the variables. Are you on a busy street, or you know what time of the day is it? Are people walking by? I mean, there's always conditions that affect everything. But for me, the digital recorder sort of narrows those. There isn't so many things that can affect it that can with a K2 or a millimeter or anything. Even the spirit box. We don't use the spirit box. I tried it a few times. Really wasn't for me or for us. And but I know a lot of people that swear by it. But for me personally, I just hear those radio stations and it's really hard to make out anything. It's for me. That's my personal opinion.
I'm consider myself experimenting with it, and that's what I do with all these. I don't write off, unless somebody's going to try to, milk me out of $300 for something. I'm not gonna automatically write something off. I will go ahead and experiment with it and see whether it matches up or whether it doesn't. One of the things I did, and I still play around with the flashlights, but I don't use the flashlight as a definitive thing. But I use it as kind of. I would look at it almost like how can I word this? If you're fishing with like a bobber, or something, it moves. Could it have been like the current or something, or could it be something? It's just a possible indicator that something could be going on there. But I, for the longest time, could not get a flashlight to discharge in a non-investigation situation, and it wasn't until I probably was doing it for weeks and weeks before I finally started having them go off on their own. So I still know what to make of it, but for the longest time I'd go into locations and they'd go off, and then I would try to imitate that. You can't imitate it exactly because of the temperature and the humidity, and I know humidity is one of the factors in it, but it was just something for the longest time I found really interesting. Is I'm like, why am I getting like 50% flashlight hits when I'm investigating, and then I set it up the exact same way in non-investigating activity, and they never go off. Well, now I have had them go off. So. But
that's one of those things, though. You wouldn't present that as the only piece of evidence to a client, say your house is haunted or your business is haunted, because you really couldn't do that. So, like you said, you'd have to have a lot of other things to cooperate before you would even, mention anything like that. Just not the flashlight. Like you said, it's a piece.
I look for links, and even with the audio, I look for links. Like there was one where one of the few full bodies I've seen, I saw a full body of a woman, and it also turns out I was the only one in that area at the time, and I picked up a woman's voice. That, to me, means a little more than either one of those pieces of evidence alone. Penhurst recently, I had one where I felt a chill down my back, the meter goes off. I said, I feel like somebody touched me, and then we have an audio saying it's me. That, again, all those four pieces linked together mean more than any of those on their own. Right. And I think you got to look at it probability-wise. If you're just randomly picking up voices, what are the odds of, if you're only going to pluck like one word, like out of a book or out of a conversation, that would relate and tie into those other three or four pieces. I mean, yes, it's possible, but your odds are pretty slim as opposed to getting like a random no somewhere, or something like that. So, Kelly, what do you think?
Sorry, I keep having coughing.
Sorry.
No, I keep coughing, so I'm trying to be as quiet as possible. Sorry.
And I promise I wasn't going to put Kelly on the spot, and I did it anyway, so I apologize to Kelly.
No, I've been keeping up with the conversation. We just, like with the spirit box and the flashlight, we haven't really done any of that. We're old school, at least our group is, with the whole voice recorder. I'm with John with that. My voice recorder, that is like my one thing I don't leave home without. So that would be my take on that stuff. Sorry, guys. I'm trying not to cough in your ear here. I've got allergies so bad right now. It's bad.
And the only thing I would quick add out there, to if anyone relatively new to this is listening, this is just my opinion, my style on this, is I would run the recorder the whole time. It does make it a little harder for evidence review, but I would say, at least from my experience, the bulk of audio I end up getting is not when I was expecting to get audio. So, and it gets to kind of what we were talking about earlier, where you're having a conversation or you're walking down or, you hear a lot of people say that during like setup or tear down, you get comments and things. So that's why I always like to leave one running the whole time anyway. And plus, I use that as a kind of a way to journal and document the whole investigation as well anyway, because at least me, my memory gets fuzzy after a while, so it's easier to have it all documented on audio.
Well, we take one with us when we do the EVP sessions, and we also leave recorders throughout the building, just in empty rooms, and listen back. And a lot of times, you'll hear a voice or two or a conversation or things moving around, and we'll know that we were nowhere near that at the time. So that's kind of interesting, too.
Oh, awesome. What's, so if you, like the next, if you could kind of have I don't even know how to word this. I don't want to say like a wish, but like the next kind of thing you would like to do or get set up either for the team or for your site or something going on, what would be like the next kind of project? So I'm not saying like bucket list investigation wise. I'm just thinking, is there any type of like initiative or anything along those lines that you would like to kind of go after?
For me personally, it's just about getting the name out there. Just, trying to push the name New Jersey Paranormal, everywhere, but in our home state as well. I'd like to see more followers on Facebook from New Jersey, because that's, of course, where we're located. And just to have that, sort of following and interaction with the people in our home state would lead to, more investigations, more places that'll be open to us, and just, more notoriety within the state. That's really, the immediate goal, is to just sort of keep pushing the name New Jersey Paranormal, trying to get it out there everywhere. That's why we're doing all these events. That's why we're, do all the different things that we do, just because when somebody wants a group to investigate their home in New Jersey, hopefully they think of us.
Makes sense. And I don't know if you, I don't think you were on earlier when I said this, and I'm just going to mention it again in case somebody tuned in for the just the second hour here. But when I first started kind of branching out and contacting other teams out there, kind of on the internet and on Facebook and stuff, you were one of the earliest teams I got in touch with, and one of the really good, positive, and supportive teams out there and stuff. So I just want to encourage, again, anyone out there listening, if you have not liked their site or started following what New Jersey Paranormal does, this is a really good, positive, supportive group, definitely in the non-drama camp, and definitely a good team to follow and get in touch with. So I would definitely recommend getting in touch with them. And I certainly, on my end, thank you for your support.
Well, I appreciate that, Matt, and I would like to offer the same compliment to Kellie and her group, because she's been great to us since we started this whole thing, and with the blog, and just helping out when I had any questions, or just, to be there to talk to about certain things. She's been great for us, and I appreciate everything she's done. So she's a good friend that we've made in the paranormal community.
Aw, thanks. You guys both, Matt and John, your groups were the ones that just welcomed us with open arms, and it was just that kindness and what you guys gave to us is what we reciprocated back, because you both have been wonderful to us, so we thank you as well.
Well, yeah, I just want to say both of you definitely stand out on this, and I just want to add too, because. And I don't know everyone that's out there listening, there are more groups that I would consider in this camp that I've interacted with in a positive manner than I've contacted so far for the show, just because I didn't want to get too out of whack date-wise. So if certainly some other people out there listening, I will certainly be in touch with you soon as well. But I definitely wanted to reach out to those teams that were really good and kind of a positive influence very early on and kind of branching out here. I've actually been able to avoid the drama for the most part. I have another team that I'll get on in a little while. We've had some scheduling conflicts with them. That really the only big paradrama thing that I really got involved in involved kind of helping them out, and they had it involved this I don't know if it was a real church or not. It might have been just this online guy that was claiming to be a pastor, but was sending just these awful messages calling us, the servants of Satan, and go hide under your rock, and wow. So I started to. I consider myself at least reasonably literate on the Bible, so I started kind of giving arguments back to the guy that was getting these letters on defending the things, and then I basically blocked this guy immediately because I'm like, I didn't want to be getting tons of emails from these people calling me the spawn of Satan. But that's been about it.
That's the thing too that you mentioned. That I tried to fight the para-unity battle for as long as I could, and I still believe in it. But I learned the hard way that there are three things, like I said, that you can't talk about, and that's with different people. That's politics, religion, and para-unity is one of them, because you get people that are just so extreme on either side that it's really hard to talk to people that don't believe in it into believing in it. So you believe what you want to believe. Let me believe what I want to believe, but let's just leave each other alone. You do your thing, let me do mine, and I won't say anything bad about you, and you do the same for me, and that's live and let live.
I would totally agree. On the paranormal side, what I always, kind of one of the tests I always use is when the item comes out, just kind of follow that up with, and how does this affect me and my work? And if the answer is really no, or it has minimal effect, then don't get knocked off your game worrying about it. So, if someone's out there calling it evidence review, and technically it's not evidence review because you don't know it's evidence until you actually find out if you have evidence, at the end of the day, how does that impact any of the work that I'm doing? I don't see the connection there. I don't see why, whether they're right or wrong, I don't see why I should wait 10 seconds of my time on it. And so
it's not my group. I have no affiliation with it. If that's what they think they're doing and they think they're doing it right, well, then they're the ones whose reputation is going to hinge on that either way.
Exactly. And that's some of the things, and that's where it's kind of like a fine line is some of these groups, it's not that I disagree with their point, technically. It's just I don't think it's worth making a battle over.
Exactly. And it's the same. I feel the same exact way. I don't necessarily disagree with them, but I wouldn't go out of my way to bash someone. I wouldn't go on their site, call them a liar, call them fakes, or just I know I'm doing the right thing. Other groups that I associate with are doing the right thing. I just won't deal with those other groups either. The bashers are the ones who aren't doing it the right way. Even for those who charge for investigations, apparently there's a lot of those out there, but that's not us. Never will be.
And that's why, just so everybody, that's why I've tried with this show to kind of take more of a lighter side on things with, we obviously have serious discussions on this, but with the different monster promos and all that kind of stuff, because, again, at the end of the day, this is a very interesting field that we're all obviously passionate and interested in, but it's not, it's not neuroscience. It's not like, thousands of people are dying if somebody makes the wrong call here.
Well, that's why I got on the line, because, you would have been sleeping right now if my brother was still on the line. he knows everything there is to know, like I said, about the theories and the instruments and the, electromagnetic energy and, when the weather is warm or cool. I'm just kidding with him, though. It's my brother. I love my brother, and we work great together. And I wouldn't have anybody else with me on my team. And like I said, John's been a great addition. He makes equipment. He follows right along. He falls right in line with everything that we do. He analyzes everything, quick turnaround on everything, and he's really detailed in what he does. So he's been a welcome addition to our group.
Awesome. Well, we are winding down here, so I want to, again, make sure we get a chance to get everybody's contact stuff out there. So, Kellie, again, who has an awesome team and an awesome blog, can you give everybody your contact information out there?
Sure. Well, as always, you can find me under Kellie Wirtz or our website. We haven't got our website up yet. I promise when it does, I'll give it to you guys. But Facebook, PRS Wisconsin, that's how you can find us. My blog is out there. I harass everybody and post it, so you'll see it out there if you go there.
And I still owe you. I'm still in the middle of
you do.
chaos. Yeah, I will get you your info. I have not forgotten. I'm just.
And I heard you put me on the spot, Kelly. So I'll
I
give you
did.
two.
I've got both of you boys on the spot.
I know. It's coming.
I understand, though. I know you guys are busy.
But if you're looking for it and holding up, just go ahead and feel free to pester me again. Everybody else does, so it's fine. John and John, I know we did it earlier, but again, in case anyone missed it, your contact information, because again, I'm going to put a little plug in. This is a great group to get in touch with.
The website is www.newjerseyparanormal.com. And again, if you'd really like to interact with us, sort of one-on-one, real-time, just look us up on Facebook, New Jersey Paranormal.
Awesome. And I'll just quick throw out there is a Sunday Night Dead group page. Please, if you have not liked it yet, like it. You'll find all kinds of interesting things about the shows on there, as well as, again, some more comical stuff we have going on, like the ongoing battle with the orbs that I continue to piss off in the orb community. Also doing a drawing for September every week. Anyone that's a member of the group will get drawn at random, and then we will have a drawing at the end of the month to see who wins a not very common and relatively liked Dead Air Paranormal T-shirt. So feel free to check out that site. If you want to get in touch with me personally, I have two group sites, Slozer Paranormal Research and then also Autumn Moon Paranormal. Only reason why I have two is I noticed as I was getting out there that people knew me but not my team, so kind of branched out the two different ways in case people wanted to get in touch with me. So again, I want to thank you both, or all three of you, for being on, and Barry as well, who needed to leave us earlier. Great show. Always feel good when you still end a show with a bunch of other questions and things you would like to talk about. So please, if you guys are willing to come on sometime in the future, I would love to have you back on.
Sure.
And
well, thanks for having us on.
You're very welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, John DeMatico and John Ruggiero of New Jersey Paranormal. And for my co-host, Kelly, thank you so much for being on.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really enjoyed it. We'll have you back on again for sure, and I will definitely get on the getting that blog information for you.
Thank
you. Again,
bye, guys. I just wanted to talk to you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Kelly. Nice talking to you.
Would like to, again, thank New Jersey Paranormal, Kellie Wirtz, and most of all of you for joining us this evening. Next week, we have After Dark Paranormal. Have a great week, everyone. Good night.
He will wait until